Hey, what's up motivators? Taren here. I recently read a great book about the dopamine reward pathway. On the good side of things, this pathway is what allows us to be motivated and figure things out and push ourselves to being better versions of ourselves. But the other side of that coin is very negative. This is also what causes us to get addicted to drugs or gambling or sex or become overweight. As endurance athletes, we can fortunately harness the dopamine reward pathway, and I want to talk about how we can use it to avoid a lot of the bad things involved with extreme amounts of fitness and really work towards achieving our goals, bigger goals than we ever thought imaginable by using the dopamine reward pathway for good, not evil. My name is Taren Gazelle. In my 20s, I was overweight, unfulfilled, and couldn't even run to the end of the block. Over the following years, I found endurance sports, lost 65 pounds, won age groups, raced world championships, broke records, and trained and learned from some of the best athletes and coaches in the world. You too can use endurance sports to change your life and accomplish your fitness goals. You just need a system that's meant for us amateurs who want to be our best while feeling our strongest and healthiest. My company Motive offers that system, and I want to share some of the tips from it today. Thank you for tuning in, motivators. So I recently read a book called The Molecule of More. Excellent book. It's even a good audiobook. I recommend that you check it out. There will be an affiliate link in the description below, but it talks about dopamine and its role in always driving us and pushing us for more. And this is an excellent thing. Now, we have a diagram here of the dopamine reward pathway, and you don't have to really understand a whole lot about this, but we can simplify your understanding of it to dopamine and the reward network. It pushes us to achieve more. More than what? Well, just more. It's just simply more that dopamine is always going to push you towards. Now, this largely relates to three different things. The first one being shelter. It's going to push us to have more safety, better shelter, be safer, be warmer, be safe from the elements, be safe from predators. The second thing that it's going to push us towards is sustenance. So food, making sure that we always have enough food to fuel our body and we aren't going to starve. And then the third being strength, making sure that we are strong enough that if we are out of our shelter, or we don't have enough sustenance, that we can fend off attacks, or we can be out there for a long time looking for more and more sustenance. So it's always going to be pushing us for more. And you might think, well, hey, isn't this great? Isn't this what makes us human? And the answer is yes, this is what pushed us to build cities and agricultural processes and jobs and structures of civilizations that allowed us humans to thrive. What shelter pushes us to do is this pushes us to look for housing, to get cars, to get clothing, to get more and more stuff, to accumulate things. On the sustenance side of things, this is agricultural processes, this is grocery stores, this is money and currency so that we can actually have an exchange so that we do work, we get money, and then we can actually go buy food with it or clothing, all of these things. And then the strength side of it, as it relates to us athletes, this is what pushes us to increase our amount of fitness, to lift weights and be bigger and bulkier and stronger, to complete endurance races. In our mind, we are able to go and track down prey or food or run away from a predator for a longer and longer period of time. It's going to push us to do more and be healthier. But you might be able to see where I'm going with this is constantly pushing yourself for more and more shelter. Dopamine doesn't care how much you have, it just cares about how much more you can get. On the shelter side of things, if you're just constantly working to accumulate things, this is where people work themselves to the bone to always accumulate more and more wealth so that they can buy more and more things. And this is where we get burnout. This is where people have worked all their lives and never actually enjoyed their lives. On the sustenance side of things, this is where we have people that are overweight because they are always wired to eat more, and our instinct is always about eating more. It doesn't care if that more is healthier, it's just about eating more calories. And then on the strength side of things, this relates to overtraining because again, more is just always the answer to dopamine. More is how we get fulfilled. And it drives us to not just be excited about a 5K, but then we have to do a 10K, and then a marathon, and then a 50K, and then an ultra trail run, and then 100 marathons in 100 days, and then 100 Ironmans in 100 days. There is never any satisfaction to dopamine. It always just needs to do more. Now, dopamine also causes us to abandon our morals. It's what causes people to cheat on their wives, to seek pleasure in something new. It's what causes people to break the law and lie and cheat for personal gain. It's what causes people to gamble and what causes people to get addicted to drugs. And unfortunately for us endurance athletes, there are people that are on the spectrum of people who are more driven than the average person for achievement and gratification and being better than other people. Sounds a lot like endurance athletes who are always constantly pushing themselves to do more than the average person and get that recognition from society, thinking, oh, hey, you can do something that nobody else can, and they get gratification in that. And so we are very susceptible to the negative side of this dopamine reward pathway. I need to take a minute to thank a sponsor, which is Ucan. Now, Ucan is an excellent blood sugar stable source of carbohydrates. They have what's called super starch, which functions like a carbohydrate, but it doesn't shoot your blood glucose through the roof, causing a crash after. Yes, this is very good for training, but it's also good for day-to-day nutrition. I really like taking the Ucan bars, the Ucan granola as a food source that gives me a good amount of carbohydrates and energy while not shooting my blood glucose through the roof, causing a hunger and energy crash later in the day. And then particularly after a workout, I like the Ucan Energy Plus Plant Protein, which is a good way to, again, get the carbohydrates in, start recovering, but also gives you a really nice source of protein. You can go to ucan.co/Taren, and if you purchase anything after going through that link, you will get a discount that's applied at checkout. Again, that is ucan.co/Taren, and purchase anything to get a 20% discount. Thanks, Ucan. So let's put this in the context of you today, or you when you were starting out. You are always starting at a current level of fitness, wherever you are, and we are all going to have drives to have more goals, to seek more. Maybe that's getting off the couch and doing a 5K, or maybe that is going from an Olympic distance triathlon to an Ironman or an ultra triathlon or an ultra trail run. Now, what you might be thinking is that I'm sitting here saying, don't actually aspire to have more. And that's not the case, because it's that more. It's these goals right here that get us excited. This is the exciting part about life, being a better version of ourselves and challenging ourselves. This is what lights us up inside. This is where we start feeling excited. Now, the cool thing about dopamine is that you can use it to delay gratification, and if you are smart, you can use dopamine not for this instant gratification. You can use dopamine to outsmart that process instead of just doing this straightforward, I'm just going to go towards it. What we need to do with dopamine is say, we want the goals, but a smarter and better way to do it is to take the longer way, which is still going to get us to our goals, but it's going to get there in a healthy way, in a safer way, in a way that allows us to layer a year of fitness upon another year of fitness upon another year, so that we don't just get stalled out at one goal, that we can build to another goal and another goal and another goal. So let me just give you some examples about how you can reach your goal, but in a smarter way, and use dopamine to be a better version of yourself instead of just taking the shortcut that might lead to some negative outcomes. The instant reward is just working harder and not creating a smart training plan. The long-term reward is creating a well thought out training plan that is balancing recovery, is balancing low intensity with high intensity, is changing throughout the year, is very dynamic, is prioritizing health as opposed to performance. And then the around the way kind of reward is that you still get to performance, you just take the long sort of inadvertent way to get there. The instant reward method says, hey, carbs taste good. Carbs are what makes me faster on race day. Carbs are everything, so I'm gonna take carbs all the time. The long-term reward is understanding that you need to be able to burn carbs and access them on race day, but there are times where you also wanna teach your body to burn fat as fuel. So there are some workouts where you take a lot of carbs, some workouts where you practice your race nutrition, some workouts where the purpose is to burn fat as fuel and teach your body how to do that. So you actually maybe restrict carbs or take carbs from a lower glycemic index source. The instant gratification for a lot of endurance athletes is, well, I don't like doing strength training or yoga because I'm not good at it, so therefore I'm not going to do it, and how important can it be? The long-term reward system is, well, hey, I know that strength training is very beneficial to performance, and making sure that when I'm not doing endurance sports that I'm not stiff as a board so that I can continue to age well. So I'm going to work to have a strength and yoga and mobility training program in my endurance training program that complement each other, so that I'm not just slapping it on top, I'm not just adding it really quickly, I'm working to find something that creates a cohesive plan, which, like, let's just face it, if you're using dopamine for good, you have to take a step back and think, okay, what is a smarter way to do this and get to the same goal that I want to get to in a healthy way, in a fulfilling way, in a way that promotes longevity, because that better way is going to allow me to leapfrog from that goal to the next goal and the next goal and the next goal over and over, whereas the instant gratification way might mean that you can reach that first goal, but maybe you're sick, maybe you're injured, maybe you're just tapped out and plateaued, and there is no next goal. And just so you know, how we're thinking about the future of our endurance training app is we want to make it rewarding every single day to do the right things. That instead of just getting rewarded in the app for doing more and constantly having a streak, we can actually change that model so you start getting rewarded for good habits. You start getting rewarded for taking rest days. You start getting rewarded for low heart rate training. You start getting rewarded for strength training or yoga. And the incentives in our app aren't going to be about always doing more. It's going to be about being a better version of yourself in a balanced way. So affiliate link is in the description below to that book. I highly recommend you check it out if you're interested in understanding the motivations of humans and athletes, and think of it in terms of, okay, what does this mean for me and what does this mean for the endurance community? And you start to feel really empowered going, hey, I don't have to be at the whim of just general society and my instincts. I can be the best version of myself by thinking longer term. Thank you for watching, motivators. If you're looking for a training plan that incorporates these methods that is as good as a one-on-one coach but as inexpensive as doing it yourself, check out our Motive training app that covers triathlons, running races, duathlons, swim runs, and cycling events. There's a link in the description below where you can check out your customized training plan for free. Also, if you'd rather listen to these tips, we also publish these videos in podcast format on the Taren's Motive Method podcast, so you can check that out. And if you don't want to do either of those things, but you found this video helpful, hit us up with a virtual high five by smashing the like button below. Later, motivators.